Hi, Sailor Mercury, Amy here. And today I'm going to talk about something that usually always comes up or doesn't come up. But, okay. Remember when I always talked about the sad hatred, well, I really can't call it hatred, of Sailor Moon's English adaptation? Now, that is not even, that's a side of the point. Now, some of them may or may not even know how this hatred came into being. Where all the other movies we talked about the hatred, how did it even happen? Now, my guess of where the beginning of this hatred came from, or maybe the unlike came from, has to go back to the beginning of Sailor Moon. Now, the first way was the Asian Japanese one, where all the other subs basically branched it off from. And some men and women out there, maybe a small portion of them, probably did have the internet back then. But back then there wasn't YouTube and there wasn't VidMe or Dailymotion or any websites like that. And I don't know if there was any, there probably were some streaming sites, but they probably weren't really in that good quality. So let's say 1995-80 that some of them had the internet, probably from American Online or CompuServe. Let's say some of them actually do their research and find the subversion. Very few of them probably would find it. Some of them probably wouldn't. But maybe some small portion of them does find the subversion. But at the time, I hardly doubt that very few of them even know how to speak Asian Japanese, so they probably had to read the subs. Now, I'm going to say, I would say that would probably be a lie, given to the fact that in 1995-80, very few of them actually did do any of their research. They probably did their research years later, probably came across the subversion years later, and somebody out there, but let's say only half, back then only a few portion of them actually had computers. Back then, very only few men and women had their own computers. Not that computers weren't in circulation. It was just that they were really expensive. They probably still are expensive, but maybe not as they once were. But that's like saying, oh, well, cars and trucks are still expensive, but not like they used to be. Still are. Point is, that's a different type of expensive right there. Well, so very few of them had the internet, and very few of them had computers, unless they knew a friend that had one, or they looked it up while they were at learning, or went to the book house. So very few of them had it. But basically this hatred somehow, I'm not going to buy that they got mad at it right away. See, I will buy it, a lot of them stumbling upon the subversion now and then giving hate to the English one. But where the hate came from, who knows? Someone obviously somehow started hating on it, and it became a bandwagon effect. One started hating on it, next thing you know, everybody started jumping on and getting into the hating. And if you ask them, a lot of them don't even know why they hate it. But the things that they hate about is like so messed up. I mean, yeah. I mean, when you stop to think of it, hating it when it's in your own speech is kind of dumb, since that's the only speech you know, all right? Oh, I take that back. Maybe there are some men and women out there who speak one or more speech, good for them. But the majority, that was your speech. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what you were expecting. and then hating on the show players or the speak players. I don't know. That makes no sense there. Getting pissed, getting angry over 3 episodes turning into 2. I don't know. And then I don't know, getting mad over names being undone. You knew. I mean, this is just funny that we have these borrowed learned names that we borrowed and learned from other speeches and vice versa. And not everybody knows Asian Japanese borrowed names and learned names. Some of them do, some of them don't. All right. But the point is, I don't really know where the hate came from. I would say it probably came not in 1995 AD. No, not even in 1998. This hatred started around 2000. Yeah, I would say that, because during that time, that was when computers started to be a little bit more affordable and most men and women could afford a computer. So I would say that was when they started doing their research, and that's when they came across the subversion of Sailor Moon, and that's really where the hatred came from. But does every single man and woman out there hate it? No. Some of them do. But I think a lot of it's show playing, given the fact that a lot of it's just, I saw so-and-so hate it, so I'm going to hate it now instead of making up my own mind. And I think a lot of these men and women don't really make up their own mind. They just kind of go wherever they see someone else saying do. They don't want to make anyone else mad or angry, so what they do is they get afraid, so they jump on it and they get angry over it. They think that, I don't know, obviously somebody out there probably really doesn't like it, and the other half of them are probably show playing. I think a lot of it probably is show playing, But for the point that them even getting angry over that stuff is pretty sad. And I don't know where this hate came from. I don't even think hate's the right word for it. Maybe unlike might be a good term for it. But from 1995, 80, I'm going to say up to 2000, when Sailor Moon was being dubbed by Deacon and by Pioneer, very few, and I don't think this hatred is even out there. I mean, I think that the hatred for Sailor Moon's English one is pretty sad, but I think that it's, I don't know, somebody out there, it's almost if, I don't know. But I don't know where the hate came from. But it was recent. It doesn't go back to 1995 AD. I'm sorry. It doesn't go back that far. The hatred obviously goes back into the early 2000s is where the hatred kind of goes from. It just built on itself. You had one man or woman who, I don't know, for whatever point said, oh, I don't like it, sense of this, and that. And everybody else just started, building on it. I don't know. Or my guess is that the hate comes off the fact that for some point they wish that the English one was like the Japanese one, and the Japanese. Well, by that fight right there, every sub should, in their mind, every sub should be like the other sub. But but also we got to keep in mind that the Asian Japanese one had its flaws too. All right. Plus, it was completely marked. It was completely not the same. All right. No way. I mean, getting mad at the English adaptation or the English one is kind of sad. It's never going to be the way you want it. All right. It is what it is. The men and women who it was marketed to or was made for was not going to, it wasn't going to work. So the only way they had to do it was to undo things. All right. They had to undo certain things to it. Yeah. And they would have to pick borrowed named learned names that everyone would know. They would have to, undo stead names and all kinds of other things. Plus, it would have to be in English, since the majority of men and women who live in English-speaking regions and countries speak English. So I don't know where all that came from. I still don't know. And I'll never know where the hate came from. And I'm smart, but I'm not that smart to know. I don't know everything. I have my beliefs over this hatred. This basically is a whim of the fact that, of the truth, that they think the Asian Japanese one is more good. And they think that all the other subs out there and dubs are bad. And they think that it should be exactly just like that one. So they wish that it was done that way. But if it was done that way, then number one, a lot of you, before I end this movie, all right, that's it. I went on long enough. I'm Sarah Mercury Amy. I'll see you later.